Alright guys, welcome everybody. We're having a quick interview here. As you probably already know, Splendour is playing for my Insanity and he is a support player and also kind of the brain behind the entire team here, especially behind the combos that they're using for the tournaments. They were the only Western team that made it to the top 4 at the Summer Global Championship, and we're going to talk a bit about the patch notes. So Splendour, first of all, welcome to the stream, welcome to the interview. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me to do another interview about the globe changes.
Yeah, we already talked a bit in Sweden, of course, about the changes that Blizzard introduced to the regeneration globes and also to the healing wells. And can you maybe sum up a little bit how you felt now that you actually got to play a few games with them? I mean, we've talked in theory what you think the implications would be. Now you've had the time to play a few of the games on the PTR server. So what do you think now that you actually experienced it?
Yeah, so actually last time we talked only about HP. And as far as HP goes, right now you can really feel the difference because it's basically double the HP you get from globes. And especially in the PTR, you get a lot of comps where you don't have a support and it feels much better. You have to recall much less. On some maps where the objectives give you globes, like on Battlefield or Inferno, you don't have to recall. You can just stop and take the two globes and you're almost full HP. Even if you had no HP and no mana, you will be able to push with it. So it feels pretty good, but at the same time, there's some stuff I dislike about it. So firstly, like if you have a huge wave with 2 or 3 globe minions and your team tries to push with it, it's probably very dangerous because if the enemy team engages and then they take the 3 globes mid-fight, they will just get like 36% HP or something, and then they'll most likely win just because of that. And it's very counterintuitive because you're supposed to have the advantage when you have your own minions there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I think it encourages you to do like dual tri lanes at the start of the game, because that way you deny the enemy the globe, or rather he can only have it at his towers, which we will, I guess, talk a bit more about later, since killing the wave at your towers is no longer good. So actually, as far as globes go, with the mana, so the way mana works in this game is all heroes with mana, they start with 500 and they get 10 per level. So basically at level 1, the mana globes gives you 8 more mana. I mean, it used to give you 32, I think, and now it gives you 40 at level 1, so like 8%. And then when you level up, it gives you more and more mana, and how good the mana globe is depends on which character you're playing. Like if you're Liming, for example, I guess you have a lot less mana problems since your spells cost very little. But for a hero like Vala, it will not. I mean, it's obviously it will improve your mana regeneration and how much you can use your abilities, but it's not like you can't feel it that much.
So overall, like looking at the changes, also with the well that got slightly changed, do you feel that it's going to have a huge impact on the support role as a whole? Do you think that Blizzard can now take maybe a bit of the healing ability from supports away and give them more utility? Or do you even think that, for example, no support compositions are suddenly viable and competitive?
So I don't know if no support comes viable, because you always end up in situations where you can't take globe. Like, for example, on Cursed, you might not be able to clear the wave, or like if you do, it won't be one hero, not everyone taking the globe. But yeah, at the same time, you don't need as much healing outside the fights, and yeah, they could definitely nerf some of the numbers or the cooldowns of healing.
So overall, you would still say that you like the change, but of course, like supports are, and definitely like healing as a general rule is still needed.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
All right, so just talking about that a bit, but now the important change, like the thing that a lot of people have already discussed, it was all over Twitter, it was also like on Reddit. Blizzard has made 2 huge changes to minions. First of all, there was a change that we should probably address first. They changed the catapults a bit because they said that the way catapults worked and were pushing lanes after you destroyed an opponent's keep was a little bit flunky, so now they have an increased attack range, which should always allow them, first of all, to just really fixate on structures. It's much easier for them to get some value out, and also they will fixate on structures now, meaning that once a catapult starts to attack a certain structure, it will continue to keep doing that even if a new wave spawns. Is that a change that you think was necessary, that you think they needed to do, or do you actually feel that this is a bad thing?
Right, so I actually feel that catapults definitely need a change, and this is maybe a start, but I think it's not enough. So in my opinion, catapults should be stronger. Because like there's 2 issues with catapults. Firstly, they are kind of bugged on a lot of maps. So what you get is, for example, if you're playing on Inferno Shrines you kill the bot keep, or on Sky Temple when you kill the bot keep, the catapults will not put any pressure because like the catapults are like if you have too many, they will get hit by the core, or like the mid wave will join the bot wave and then like they just depush your catapults for free. So basically you get the keep with no pressure, and this is the stuff that happens in tournaments. Like even in Sweden when we were playing, we almost lost the game because we had no pressure from the lane where we killed the keep. And also, like in my opinion as a player, killing a keep should be more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if you kill the keep, you need the catapults to keep putting pressure on that lane. Like it needs to feel very meaningful, much more than it is right now. So they should fix like at least this problem. They should fix for sure. And then the second problem the catapults have is that they're too easily pushed by global heroes, especially global heroes with a lot of damage like Deak or Falstad. They basically depush it for free. So I think they should increase the catapult HP perhaps so that it takes more time for those heroes. Or maybe they might also want to do something with the global heroes themselves, like make it so that they still have the global, but it takes longer time to join. Like for example, level 20 Falstad, if you see him in base, you can't really punish, but before level 20, because of the epic mount, but before level 20, like it might be possible because it will take him, like depending on where his team is on the map, it might take him around 10 seconds to join if he has to move first.
Okay. One question though, if you, like we're talking about already like catapults that got buffed by Blizzard a little bit. Now you're talking about increasing the hit points as well. Are you worried that at some points you would end up in a situation in which it's too snowbally and comebacks would be, like we would have IGN moments, comebacks not longer possible because the catapults are just simply too strong? Do you think that could happen?
I mean, I think right now it's actually too easy to come back because like in this game, once both teams get to level 20, every fight is very dangerous for both teams. Like every fight can be game deciding.
So you would say that the changes that they have are quite important. It's actually like a good change, but you would say first of all what they really need to do is fix the bugs that sometimes let catapults attack mid lane structures if we're talking bot lane, for example, or that allow like a different lane to completely just move in and deep push the catapult. So you would actually go even a step further, fix that bug, and then maybe even increase hit points.
I mean, actually, I don't know if the bugs are fixed with the catapult changes. Like, I hope they are, but I don't know if all the bugs are fixed. Like, maybe on Sky Temple, the midway will still push the bot catapults or something, and then that's something that should definitely be fixed.
Okay.
If it's not already.
All right, so catapults definitely one of those things that we're probably going to see quite a lot more, and people have to take care a bit more about pushing them properly with this. But maybe Blizzard has to even do some work that we're going to find out in a few weeks, I guess. But let's talk a little bit about one of the most impactful changes that Blizzard actually made in this patch. Ranged, melee, and wizard minions now do double the damage to structures. And that seems like it's a really massive change. I mean, there's of course a couple of extreme situations that really come to mind right now, where on Cursed Hollow, when you are cursed, you're all of a sudden under a lot of pressure. Objectives seem to be weaker overall now, since you get a lot of value out of split pushing. Camps, of course, are also stronger since they are starting to push with the wave, and the wave does more damage to the structures overall. Blizzard has said that one of the reasons why they implemented the change is that they felt the waves or the minions alone did not really do enough. They were only XP carriers and they didn't really have any impact. Do you think this is a good change that they implemented here, or do you see problems with it?
Yeah, I think it's actually a very bad change because it encourages the meta to turn into more split pushing and kind of just PvE. While like right now the meta is more like dive comps and you try to team fight a lot, which I think it's really nice both to play and to watch. But like if you were just pushing on two sides of the map, it's not really fun, and also it makes the game feel shorter. I think actually the biggest problem is that it encourages you to pick heroes with a lot of wave clear or heroes with global, or possibly both. Like for example, Falstad would be even stronger than he is right now.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I
talking
think
Falstad, as you just mentioned him, it seems that especially when you reach level 20 at some point with Epic Mount, he can just simply bounce from lane to lane and deep push a wave and put incredible pressure on the structures. And as we said before, if you destroy an opponent's keep, now the catapults are even stronger than they were before, or finally have a bit more of an impact. So it feels like global heroes are incredibly strong, and especially Zul and Sylvanas come to mind when we're talking about like wave clear. They are already incredibly strong putting pressure on. If you now can disable structures, pushing with Sylvanas, maybe even with an objective like an Immortal or a Punisher, and you have the waves on top of that doing double damage, do you feel like it's too snowbally?
Uh, yeah, I feel like a lot of teams who run some kind of like duo or tri-lane strategy game just try to push because like both this change and the globe changes encourage it. Like before, if you had like a normal 1v1 lane and you're winning the lane, then what that usually means is that you clear the wave while he is staying behind. He can't touch the wave because you can poke him. Like this is, for example, if you play Trow against a ranged character that doesn't have any self-sustain, then it's probably how the lane is gonna work. Like he can't stay in your chain lightning range, so you clear the way for free, and then you rotate before him, so you can join your team, like you can make a gank or something. And this is already very good because being able to do that kind of rotation gives your team a good advantage. Like you might get a Q off of it. Depending on the map, you might get an objective, like you can pay on Tomb and so on. And just making it so that when the wave goes to his towers, it will actually do a lot of damage is, I think, unnecessary. It's already impactful if the wave reaches the towers. And the other thing is that if you do a duo or trialing, like you do a 2v1, 3v1 or something, you will just get his wall immediately, like much faster than you do right now. Unless the hero defending is someone that can stop the creeps, like Sylvanas or Joanna.
Mhm. Like another thing that we already have in the game, like without the PTR changes, is that, for example, on Cursed Hollow, one of the standard strategies of competitive teams is to take the Siege Giant camps exactly at 2 minutes in when they spawn, so that with the first tribute that occurs on the map, one team will have a bit of an advantage depending on where the tribute spawns. Right now, it feels like even with that Siege Giant camp pushing where the tribute is on the map, you always have the option to still go for the tribute fight. You are going to take damage at your structures, but if you're good at the team fight, you can still rotate back in time to make sure you don't lose too much. Do you feel like this is even forcing your hand even more, that once you have an objective spawning on the map, if there's a camp pushing against you, you just have to let the objective go? You don't even have the option to go for a trade any longer?
Yeah, I don't think you should go for trade any longer because you'll probably lose fort now and before you will lose the wall. I mean, even now it's kind of bad to go for the tribute on the other side. You have the AC camp pushing, but like with the creep changes, it's even more because the creep camp it kills the enemy wave, and your allied wave will have most of the creeps alive, and they will do that extra bit of damage on your structures. I think it will encourage a lot more splitting, and maybe on Crust you'll actually be forced to pick a global hero.
So when we're talking about especially the changes in the sense that split push is now much stronger, would you actually welcome split push to be a more viable option? I mean, Mindsign is one of the teams that has probably the most diverse strategies. You guys went for dive strategies at the globals, even you were trying to go for a keep with the backdoor strategy. So you have a lot of strategies out there that are completely different from what other people's try right now. It feels that if Blizzard finds a way to actually make it a bit more attractive to go for certain split push compositions, that would be a good thing. Do you feel like if they, for example, increase the damage that minions do to structures by less than 100%, that would be a good way to do that?
Mm, so I'm not sure. Like if they reduce it, if they increase the damage with too little, then you probably won't feel the change. And to be honest, like it's probably good for our team. Like if we have the if we get the patch as it is right now, like we'll probably be better in the competitive scene. Like we'll have better chance to win against Korean teams or something, for example. But there will be in general less team fights, and I think the game will be more boring because it's turning into a more strategical game and less of a team fight game. That makes sense, which I think is actually not good for the game. I think we should have a lot more team fights and maybe even go the other way, like try to make it so that it's better to contest every objective, even if you're talent behind or something.
Yeah, I mean, currently we are usually seeing the team without the talent, with the talent disadvantage trying to rotate away. Actually, like that would currently mean that if with the team with the talent advantage, when you go for the objective and your opponent just simply pushes the lane, they might even get more value than you will get out of the objective.
Yeah, but like when your team with the advantage, then you will do the split pushing and you let them have the objective, I guess.
Which would kind of defeat the purpose of the objective in the first place.
Yes. I mean, it depends on the objective. Because, like you said, for example, on Cursed, it might be good to push against the tribute, but if they get a Curse with the creep buffs, they probably get a keep. Like, I played 1 or 2 Curse games on the PTR, and then whenever there was a Curse, like, it was just insane how fast the creeps were pushing if there's a lane which they didn't defend. And also, in competitive, it's even harder to defend the lane because you can't really send one person there because the enemy team is just looking to dive someone.
Like, it also feels that all the games that have been played on the PTR so far, I mean, of course, with the exception of a few matches there, are way shorter than what we're currently experiencing in the live version of the patch. I mean, currently we're talking about roughly 20 to 21 minutes on average game length for a normal match. That's the latest Hotstocks data that we have from the last weeks across all levels. And on competitive, usually games are even a little bit shorter than that. So now with the Minion changes, it feels like the games are on average on the PTR several minutes shorter than before. Do you feel that's also maybe a little bit of a problem for the viewership? Because I'm a bit afraid right now that the games are getting too short.
Actually, I don't know if it's a problem. Like, if it's a short game but it has many team fights, then I think it's still fine. But if it's a short game where there's like one team fight and only pushing, and that's probably very, very bad for the viewers.
Yeah, personally, I'm just afraid that we're at some point going to end up at a game length that is shorter than the actual draft. We've seen, like MVP Black, for example, with the Sylvana pushers, was already able to finish a few of the games 12 minutes in or 14 minutes in when we're looking at the Summer Globals. If now the Minion waves to double the damage, I'm a little bit afraid we might see like those one-digit games a lot more often. So, not quite sure. For you guys, it would, by the way, maybe be also quite nice if you are going for that backdoor strategy again and are able to snipe a keep every now and then you have even more push coming from that lane.
I mean, with the backdoor strategy, actually, it doesn't matter too much. Because you don't push with the waves, you just go for the core.
Oh, you actually kill the keep and go for core right away?
Yeah.
Alright. We haven't, by the way, guys, if you don't really have watched the game, it didn't really work out against the Koreans the way they were trying to play that. But that sounds even more dirty than I expected, so yeah. Like, overall, the patch. I mean, we haven't really talked about the heroes. I don't want to get too much into the balance things right now, since there was, of course, like a huge amount of changes, and I feel like we're covering the more essential and general changes that they have. But I mean, disregarding the things that we've been talking about so far, is there something that really sticks out to you where you say, okay, this is really good or really bad from what Blizzard has currently changed?
I mean, I think the Brightwing change is really bad. I feel like they don't know what to do with that hero. It's kind of... So he has one build right now, which is a teleport build, and they are really nerfing it to improve his base kit, which is weird because his base kit is not fun to play. Like, if you only get heals from your passive every 4 seconds, it doesn't feel like you're doing anything. I mean, even if you have some impact, it feels like you're just there. And what they are nerfing is the level 1 teleport cooldown reduction talent, which doesn't work on yourself anymore, which is actually really huge because when you split push, like if you're a good Brightwing, you will take some damage from the creep wave or from the tower, so you get the cooldown reduction all the time, so you can have more mobility, you can have the global up much faster, but then that's not in the game anymore, so you probably will not go for that build. And like, they're kind of making Brightwing even worse than he is right now, and he is, I think, not good at the moment.
What would you do? Like, do you have any kind of ideas of what could be changed with Brightwing to make her like more attractive to play?
Yeah, I would like keep her as she is right now with the teleport, because I think she is not as her healing is not that much, but at the same time she has a global and the split push potential, so that's kind of a good trade-off. But I would personally just give every support cleanse for free, so like they get a level 7 or something, but you don't have to skill it, so you can take the shield on Brightwing and have the cleanse, and then I think she will be good. Like, she will be, of course, situational, but this is fine because she has the global, which is unique to her.
Talking about cleanse just for a moment, since you said you would give it to all of the supports for free. I mean, the reasoning behind it is that cleanse is so strong that if you have it on your tier, normally you're not in a position where you can give it up. You're normally always forced to take it. Do you feel it would be an option, since that has been discussed quite a bit as well, to remove cleanse from the game entirely?
Actually, no. Like, I don't know. as a support player, cleanse is the one thing you can use to turn a fight. I guess if you don't have the saving ult, but cleanse is sometimes better even than the saving ult. Like removing cleanse, it will first of all make some combo Simba, like some combos that can just insta kill one from your team, like leap, silence, or something like that.
Mhm.
And at the same time, it will make all the supports much weaker, and like it's their main playmaking ability. Like sometimes you can make a huge play by cleansing the barrel, cleansing the sundering, that kind of stuff. And they will just remove all of that, and it will be even right now it's not that fun to play support, but if they remove cleanse, it will be even worse.
Okay, Blizzard also, of course, changed other supports, and one of the heroes, I mean, two come to mind, Charism and Uther. Charism is now a cooldown reduction build. Not quite sure if we have to go into this too much. We probably have to find out how much that is really going to impact this play. But Uther got a pretty big rework, or, well, a lot of changes, let's say it like that. Maybe not rework in general. Do you like the way that they're going with him? Do you feel like he has now a few more options in the way that you can play him?
I mean, yeah, I actually like it because they keep the. You can still go for the old build, so he's definitely at least as strong as he is before, and he's kind of on the weaker side, so he definitely needed some kind of a small buff.
Mhm.
And at the same time, like the new talents. So I haven't played Ultra in the PTR or like in a serious game. I mean the new Ultra, but I think the new talents have their place, and I especially like the level 16 talent that gives you 50% less damage after you use your Q, because it changes the way you use the ability and in a really impactful way.
Mhm. So, are there any other healers or any other changes for healers that you would definitely introduce to the game, talking as a main support player here?
I mean, there are. I think actually healers right now need a lot of changes, and I would probably change every support hero in some way, like some more. But I don't want to go too far into it because it's also something that's not easy to do. Like it's like you have to test it. So like you have some idea, but maybe it doesn't work the way you want it. But I think in general, uh, right now many of the support heroes, especially ones that you don't see getting picked that much, like Malfurion, Medic, they're not they're not that fun to play. I think, like for example, Medic. It's one of the most clunkiest heroes because if you use Steam Drone, you stun yourself. You use Grenade, you stun yourself, and you have no mobility. And it doesn't feel like you can save people that are really far out of position. And I think in general, they should just make it so the supports are fun, first of all, and then like play with the numbers around later. So instead of having a medic with super high healing that gets buffed because she's not getting picked, maybe just give her a lot of mobility and then nerf the healing until she gets to the place where she's not first pick every time.
All right. Anything else that you comes to mind for the patch here overall? Anything else that stands out for you, or that's basically the major points for you?
Yeah, actually, there's one of my favorite heroes getting buffed. It's Kerrigan, so we might see her a lot more in the meta. Like right now, we see her only in Inferno Shrines, but after this change, maybe on every map. Except there is currently a bug with her Q, so hope that gets fixed. Otherwise, maybe she'll not get picked at all.
What, in your opinion, is like the biggest change to Kerrigan? What's really the one point where you say, okay, this is going to bring her back?
I mean, it's just the stat changes. It's more HP, more auto attack damage. Of course, like the talent changes are good as well, but I think it's just the stats that are the main thing.
All right, so we might actually see some Kerrigan as well. So guys, just a bit of a brief talk about the patch here overall. Splendour, once again, thank you very much for joining me, and I guess we're gonna see you guys then play at DreamHack Valencia, and it's gonna be in DreamHack Valencia, by the way. Everybody who's currently watching who wasn't aware of that is not going to be played on that current PTR patch. It's going to be played on the current live patch. So we're gonna see the PTR then coming into play later on, and we'll see how much those changes are going to impact everything. But Splendour, once again, thank you very much for joining me, and of course, good luck in Spain.
Thank you.
So guys, as you could already hear in the interview with Splendour, especially the changes to the minion strength against structure seems to be one of the themes that is a little bit worrying. We had quite a lot of tweets already from the NA pros that were also like looking at the changes and saying like, well, we have to see how it works out, but right now we're a bit worried about it. Of course, like with that buff to the minions, now all of a sudden global heroes are much stronger because they have that wave clear, which gives your own lane a lot more pressure. We're having a lot of buff to heroes like Sylvanas that makes it easier to push to Zula Ghoul and other specialists as well. Objectives are a lot less important right now, since you can just simply get a lot of value by pushing the lane instead. At the same time, a curse on cursed hollow, of course, is getting incredibly strong. Game length has been reduced, or will be reduced to the changes by quite a bit, and with an average game length right now from 20 minutes, that's a pretty big change. So this is one of the aspects that we want to focus on a little bit more, and one of the players on the competitive level that has actually played the most games on the PTR is Jowe, and he also recorded a short video that we're going to include here, where he's going to talk about the changes as well. I hope that you guys liked the video. If you did, then make sure that you of course subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up, and I'm going to see you guys next time with more Heroes of the Storm in-depth and interviews. So yeah, have a great day, and yep, now Jowe of course has to say a few words about his experience with the patch so far as well.
Hi, it's Jowe, Heroes of the Storm pro player and streamer. I recently had a lot of time to play the PTR server, and there's a lot of changes. And there's one that is increasing the damage of minions. Now they do double damage to structures, and this is pretty much not needed and probably unhealthy for the game. I would like to briefly talk about that and why I think so. From the games in PTR server, I saw that they end up way faster than they do on live server. The structures, the forts and keeps are getting destroyed way sooner. That's really not needed, because the Heroes of the Storm already have really sweet like game duration. It does not have to be further decreased, especially by such radical moves like increasing the minion damage, which basically leads to the whole game idea to swap from map oriented, objective oriented to do split push. And if you lack in that regard, like if your team does not bring enough wave clear and or does not have heroes that can contest the split pushers, then you are pretty much losing the forts or even keep sometimes pretty fast, which is kind of frustrating. It takes away the fun of playing other heroes that are heavily oriented on stuff like ganking, roaming, or just excel at objective fights, and don't necessarily have the wave clear needed or global presence to contest split pushers. We have in the game a role called Specialist, and that's a role that should make the push more meaningful. We can see that in the patch there's a lot of changes to Specialists actually. The biggest, like to Zagara, she has a lot of talents that increase the damage of minions, that like deals more damage to structures. Like Hellbase Hit is heavily oriented around pushing, and that's where developers probably should focus on when they think about the push things. It's also good changes to improve the catapults, because they had a lot of problems, but increasing the damage of basic minions, it's kind of counterproductive, because now, as I said, there's a lot of focus on that, and it's really annoying to get your structure destroyed super easily and super fast when you play them up and do the objectives, like when you do the stuff you're supposed to do while playing Heroes of the Storm and while you're enjoying your heroes.